Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of CEO Growth Talks. I'm your host, Pete Hayes, and I am joined by my friend, Warb Lee, founder and CEO of Alen Corp. You may be familiar with Alen if you've ever gone shopping for air purifiers because they are the top dog, US-based company, but with some offshore manufacturing. We're here today to talk and get to know Warb a little bit. Welcome to the program, Warb.
Happy to be here, and thanks for inviting me to your show.
Yeah. Let's get to know Alen a little bit. I mean, the business has been around for how long?
We are rounding 20 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and you've had this mission, seems like a long time because I've been following you. We've been talking for maybe a decade. It's a fascinating business with a very, very high quality product. Can you just describe your product line?
Sure. Well, I'll start with our mission, and our mission is to help people live better, healthier lives. That is truly kind of how we got started. We see air quality as a big impact, a big function to helping people just be healthier because you can't really control your air, right? It's there. Yes, you try to limit as much of the outdoor pollution exposure comes through and through your windows, your doors, and so forth. So we see it as how do we create a healthy environment for our customers? So that's just one area that they don't have to worry about in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, and boy, did that come to a head 5 years ago because everything, I mean, and I don't think people really were aware that with an Allen air purifier, they could actually take COVID right out of the air, whether it was their restaurant and their home. Tell us about that. How does that actually even work?
So what I'll do is I'll break down the air purifier into just its basic components. You have a motor, you have a fan, you have some type of a printed sorter builder that controls all the systems. And then you put it in a housing, plastic housing, that just kind of packages everything together. So what we do is we focus a lot on the motor selection, the fan, design of the fan blades and so forth, and the filtration. We apply the HEPA technology plus some type of a carbon catalyst or other additives that modify or reduce the level of, let's say, smoke or VLCs, which is volatile organic compounds, is those type of things that, let's say you just painted your house. And so everybody knows that after you paint a room, you have that chemical smell, right? Well, that is VLCs. So our filtration technology absorbs those.
So I'm not filtering it, but you're filtering it before I have to breathe the air.
And we do this in a way where customer experience is very important to us. We want to make sure that our units are powerful. By powerful means that we can cover a large square foot of area, but we do it in a quiet manner so that you and I, that we're in the same room, is quiet enough where we can talk. Right? We can talk in normal sounds. We don't have to speak over the sound of the fan. It's really important to us that you can live with these air purifiers that they're in the background, just quietly operating without your notice. Because, we don't want to be intrusive into a customer's environment. We just want to make sure that they live in a healthy environment. Our units do all that it can to reduce that. And what makes ours even, I would say, more different is that we have various chips and sensors in our units. We're constantly monitoring your air, constantly making sure that your air quality is at an optimal level so that your lungs don't have to do any of the filtering.
It's not just a fan sucking air through a HEPA filter. You've got some intelligence going on, and that leads you to the brand, because I think most of your products are called BreatheSmart.
BreatheSmart is the brand of the air purifiers that we're in. We have other products that's coming. There'll be other product brands in our product portfolio. Alen is the name of the company. BreatheSmart is the line of air purifiers that we currently produce.
Yeah, and what I love, and by the way, if you haven't done it already, go to Alen, ALEN.com, and you'll see the whole portfolio of things there. I love what you introduced, maybe it was a couple of years ago, the notion that what you get is more than a device. You actually get this awesome air. I think that you call it Utopia Air. Where did Utopia Air come from? That's fantastic.
I'm going to send a shout out to Cindy Montgomery, a really good friend of mine, and also CLO, because what she did, she and her team did helped us identify what are the components that we're really good at. We're very analytical in looking at the air quality. We're very customer driven. We're very service driven, and we're very educational. And when we looked at across all these things, we came to a conclusion that what we're trying to do is create a perfection, like the utopia, right? The perfection of your air. And everybody's environment is different. And your home is different than my home. So everything is customized for how you want to live, where you want to live, and really how do you want your own to be set up. And so this Utopia concept, which is Utopia Air, Utopia is the concept that came up with where we're trying to create a customizable environment that is perfect for you, the customer, the family, whatever it is in your life. We believe we've kind of struck a good chord.
Okay. And you can get your products, and then we're going to move on to the manufacturing side, but you can get your products direct from you. You also have a pretty good presence, I believe, through Amazon and also in a major retailer. And that would be,
Yeah, I'll speak about the channels, right? When I started the company, we were very focused on the digital side. I would say kind of a digital native brand at the time, okay? Because when you're starting a new company, a new brand, nobody knows. And so we focus primarily on the digital side, really enhancing how we market, sell, how we communicate our offerings to our customers. How we do that through the various channels that we use, media channels, as well as using our website to really bring forth that message. Over the time, as the rise of Amazon is the big gorilla here, and we've gotten better at working with Amazon, and we have really good relationship. Like we have a good direct relationship with Amazon. They're tough to work with, but if you have a good relationship, I think that really all matters. Right? So Alen.com, Amazon, many of the marketplaces, companies like HomeDepot.com, Target.com, Best Buy, Lowe's, etc. All the retailers have an online presence. And a couple of years ago, we were able to partner with Lowe's Home Improvement. And now we're in retail stores in roughly 1,800 Lowe's retail stores around the U.S. We really kind of expanded our business to consumer segment. We're very happy and pleased with the relationship with the partnerships we have.
you also sell into businesses. And I know that maybe not be the largest part of the business, but what sorts of businesses are most interested in high quality air?
You mentioned the COVID. I think COVID really stepped up our B2B play. I was thinking about it back in 2020, right? Which is ironically 5 years ago, a lot of schools came to us. We didn't know that there could be such a big demand. And I think that with COVID, it helped us recognize that there's a big business to business segment of the market that we weren't even addressing. And that quickly brought us almost like moved us into B2B unexpected. And from there, we've gotten to really understand the schools. We now serve over 100,000 classrooms because during the COVID spike, they were just looking for air purifiers that could cover a large area that could remove or mitigate some of the virus bacteria issues. Out of that, we realized that there's actually a bigger demand for B2B, whether it's schools, whether it's government, whether it's office buildings. And we're working here to try to make air quality the front and center for just schools, but for office buildings, for workplaces.
It's desired, in some ways expected, and yet not all products have the quality to eliminate things. You mentioned chemicals, smoke, viruses from the air. That's a tall order, and you really have to have a high quality product to do that. And that's what,
Yes. And what you need is, what's different is what you need is very capable sensors that can determine what, down to these small, minute particle sizes, what is it that is in your environment? Because your environment may be different than mine, okay? Like you may have pets or young children. That's one environment. My environment, we not have all that. And so every environment is different. And our sensors are able to determine what is the composition in your air. So what is the percentage of pollen? What's the percentage of dust? What's the percentage of chemicals? What is the percentage of smoke, if that's the case? Or virus. So the sensors are very sensitive to being able to pick up these types of particles, components in your air. Once we understand what's in your air, we can then have a solution to solve for it. Because there's various filter technologies. We have at least 3 to 4 different filter technologies that we can apply to any environment. If we didn't have the sensors and the ability to analyze the data, we just have to just kind of give you filters that we think that's going to solve it. We don't know. Because now, with the sensors, with our ability to analyze the data in the cloud, we now know what we could do to solve it.
Okay. It's awesome. Congratulations.
But what I'll say is this, we're working very extensively with our manufacturing partners because then the messengers in producing our products, their factories need to be running. And right now, at the current pace, their factories are at very low hum. So we're working with them to understand what are all the costs in the equation, whether it's inventory costs, whether it's buying, let's say, components at a larger volume to get a reduction in overall costs. We're looking at, are there ways that we can streamline the production as well as the quality control? We're looking at every step in the manufacturing process to see where can we reduce the cost without impacting product quality. I call it end to end. When the components come into their factory, from that stage all the way to when the products get delivered to our warehouse, there are hundreds of steps. How do we make sure that every step along the way, the handoff is smooth, the handoff is sufficient, it doesn't just sit there. We make sure that every step along the way, the efficiency that we're being gained so that we can basically optimize the price. This also includes like how we manage things here because we're able to provide you 2-day shipping, similar to what Amazon, because they're set up a new standard. Well, how do you make sure that you can keep your costs low while getting the products to your customers as quickly as they want? And that comes with really looking at every part of the supply chain, making sure that there are no inefficiencies in those processes.
Wow. You've taken steps to ensure, in terms of you being supply chain to your distribution, you're in pretty good shape for the future because you've taken some steps.
The inventory doesn't last forever, and we should be in good shape for this year. My advice to other CEOs and the owners that are listening to this would be develop strong relationships with your manufacturing partners, whether they're here in the U.S., whether they're abroad in China, Vietnam, Southeast Asia. I've developed relationships with these manufacturing partners for at least 10, 15 years. Okay, so I've seen their kids grow up. I've seen their families change, and they've seen the same with me because it's how we're able to partner together to solve for scenarios just like this. And I would just say, build your relationships. They're very smart and figure out how to navigate through these situations. And when you put your heads together, you realize that, oh, there's some things that are easy for them that they can accommodate.
Wow. Well, hopefully we'll come out the other side better than when we went through it. Let me change the topic a bit. You run a successful organization with an impressive set of executives with an amazing level of, I'll just call it stability and consistency. What I'm really leading to is, how would you describe your leadership style with your team?
I try to be diplomatic. I try because we have roughly 50 people in our group, but we have 15 highly capable people. So I find that their ideas and suggestions are just as important as mine. But I love to debate. I love to try to find the best solution. And I would say the executive team has learned my style, which is around, I really care about making the best decision. To me, it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. It doesn't matter if my idea is a good one or a bad one. Of course, I always think my idea is a good one. But when I hear their ideas, sometimes my mind does change. I'm going, I didn't consider it. I would say I'm open to ideas and suggestions because my desire is to find the best direction for us. And it may be a combination of several ideas that help us get there. That's one leadership style. The other one is, I think we have a high level of trust. They know that even though I don't like our situation, it's not really an instant. It's never a personal issue. It's always around, well, maybe that idea is not a good one, but what if we added this to that? And so there's a healthy debate. There's a healthy discussion ground of how do we find the best solution to the problem. That comes with people's willingness, knowing that there could be plenty of holes in it, but at the end, it really doesn't matter whose idea it is can we solve the problem? Can we find the best solution to solving this problem and puts us in a better situation? I think that pretty much defines kind of like how we problem solve in the executive.
Yeah, that's great. You've talked about partnership with your manufacturers. You talked about trust and looking for the right objective solution to things within the business. If there was one thing, a lot of other business leaders, if there's one guiding thing that you think people should be tuning up in their leadership and how they lead their businesses and how they lead their employees and how they work with their partners in their supply chains, is there one thing that you would describe that would be your recommendation to other business leaders at this time?
That's a tough question. Everyone has a unique leadership. You have a certain way of doing things, just like I have a certain way of doing things. Say, always lean on what you do naturally. For instance, I'm not a person that has strong empathy. I'm developing that skill, but I wouldn't say that is forefront to my leadership style. I lead kind of the way I naturally or normally lead. And then over time, I add certain things to say, make me better. Okay. But I think it starts with everyone has a God-given talent that's been designed in us, right? We're uniquely made. And guess what? We all have a certain way of doing things. It doesn't mean, though, that our leadership style can't improve. It doesn't mean that we can't make some adjustments to our leadership that makes us unique. I would say it's a way of becoming uniquely designed, but there's always room for improvement or polishing. For me, it's about listening to my team more intently. I think very fast on my feet. I tend to want to speak right away. One of the things I try to do is I try to speak last. So when the team discusses kind of what they think is best, what their ideas are, I have always wait to the very end, and the team knows that. I wait to the very end to share my ideas because I don't want to over-influence. It's not easy. I'm pitchy to say something. At the end, it's like, oh, good, I could just speak. Here's just things I know about myself that I'm constantly trying to improve and model.
I think that's reassuring. Trust in who you are. It's unique. And then look for ways to improve. But it's not like you don't have what you need. Start with what you've been given and go from there. Wow, I love that. I just want to say to everybody who's listening, if you're not familiar with Alen, they are the quality leader. They are the technology leader. And in many respects are just getting started. Warb has talked about sensors and so forth and laid the groundwork of where he knows he's taking the business. So congratulations, Warb, on building a great business. It's really in a good position, even though you still got a lot of tough roads to travel, especially this year.
It's been fun really doing this because it's helped me. I think better by talking. So it's helped me kind of see that areas where I can keep improving as a leader, areas where we can keep improving as a business.
Yeah, well, great. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today, and join us next time on CEO Growth Talks.